to be born in such an old dynasty, and I'm extremely proud of this rich and cultural heritage of India. But India is a country of paradox, because we are famous for the Kama Sutra, which is the world's oldest sex encyclopedia, which is more famous outside of India than in India. And yet we don't teach sex education to our students. The basic sex education is missing in schools, colleges, universities. So if that itself is lacking, then we can well understand people don't have the awareness about homosexuality and LGBT issues. And that is the main reason why we are suffering, why we have to day in, day out face stigma and discrimination from the society for no fault of ours, because of the lack of awareness and the education which is prevailing in our education system. So I always take opportunities for platforms like these to educate the youth, to educate the students of today about our issues and why we need our rights, why we need to live with the right of dignity and respect. Those are the important things which I would like to talk about in today's this time which I have, and also giving my own personal experiences, the struggles, the challenges which I have undergone growing up as a person who had no clue about my sexuality, but how I came to terms with it and how I overcame it. So, since I've been raised in a royal family, of course, now in this Indian democratic system, there is nothing like royals and all that, but we still remain to be the custodian of this rich cultural heritage which has been passed on to us by our ancestors. And my dynasty goes back to the 13th century. So you can imagine how much of heritage we have inherited from our ancestors. So I was groomed in that manner to take over charge, and all the protection and all the norms and protocols and regulations were were taught to me growing up as a child. And of course, my life was very much different than a child of a commoner. And because of that reason, there was one aspect which I have experienced as that I did not get the natural love and affection and attachment from my parents, which the others get. And in the royal families, it's missing, it's lacking. We lack that. And because of that reason, there is no communication. And in those days, there was no exposure to the outside world. There was no social media, no internet, no mobile, nothing. So I was forced to believe what I was, and without having any kind of experience or exposure outside that cocoon lifestyle which I was living. So even though I knew I was different, I did not have a name for it. And then as I grew older, I still thought that there's nothing wrong with me, because there in India we have something which I keep talking about is we are fortunate that we have something called a homosocial culture. And when I say homosocial culture is we often find men and men together, boys and boys together, girls and girls together in public, holding hands, embracing each other, hugging each other, being passionate about with each other. And nobody has a problem. Nobody doesn't even care what those boys are doing, what those girls are doing, even in public. And the moment they see a man and a woman together, or a boy and a girl together on the streets and doing anything, the hell breaks loose. They think, oh my God, where is this happened? Where is this happened? What has happened? Where is this couple come from? What is happening? So that is what I call homosocial culture. To give you another example, if you have to rent out an apartment in Mumbai, place like Mumbai, because I come from Mumbai, so I can talk about Mumbai. If you want to rent an apartment in Mumbai, or you want to rent a room in a hotel in Mumbai, if you are two boys or two girls wanting a room, no questions asked. But the moment a man and a woman, or a boy and a girl wants to rent a room in any apartment or a hotel, there'll be thousands of questions asked. Who is this girl? Is she a wife? Is she a mother? If she's your aunt, she's a sister, she's a girlfriend. all those kind of things. So growing up in that kind of an atmosphere never made me realize that I've done anything wrong, because I have grown up in a palace in Gujarat, in Rajpipla, where we had defined male section and defined female section. In our male section, only men were allowed, and in the women's female section, only women were allowed. Men and women were not allowed to meet each other, or even communicate or talk to each other or entertain each other. That wasn't allowed. And as a child, even if I had to go and meet, I had several girlfriends in school, no doubt. And every time I wanted to go and meet my girlfriend, my nanny had to accompany me, because I cannot meet a girl. Yes, if I had to meet a boy, I had to be in a company of boy. That was allowed. There was no problem with that. So we come from that kind of a culture. So I didn't know there was anything wrong. I got married to a girl of my choice. Of course, she was a princess. And that marriage obviously did not succeed. It failed. And then it was much later in my life that I kind of explored, and I got to know my real self with the help of Ashok Rao Kavi, who is the leading activist, gay activist, LGBT activist of India. And with his help, I managed to identify or get myself an identity that I am a self-identified gay man. And it was he who brought me, made me comfortable with my sexuality, gave me an exposure, and told me that you should not have any guilt feeling for what you are. It's natural, normal. There are millions of people like us all over the world. And he gave me that exposure, and he introduced me to so many of us staying in Mumbai itself. So I felt that I was not the only one, and this just happens naturally and normally as you are heterosexual. And so that's how I came to terms with my sexuality. And then much later in the year 2000, I started the Lakshya Trust. Now it's very interesting that organizations like mine, like Lakshya Trust, like Humsafar Trust in Mumbai, they all started post the HIV epidemic spreading in our country. So, I mean, HIV and AIDS, we know has been a curse to a lot of people, but it came as a blessing in disguise when it came to the LGBT community, because the government realized that if they need to fight HIV, then they have to work with the communities where it is those who are affected by it and those who are vulnerable population. So the gay population, the bisexual, the transgender population was highly vulnerable. So they started identifying these groups, and that's how Lakshya Trust was the first organization to start in the state of Gujarat working for the LGBT population. And we were the first one in Gujarat to get government grant. And we're still getting government grant. We are almost now 20 years old, and we are still getting 90% of our funding comes from government for fighting HIV, AIDS, and spreading awareness about HIV and AIDS amongst the men having sex with men and the transgender population. Again, it's a very paradox situation, because when foreigners used to come and visit us in Gujarat and come to our organization, they would wonder that how can a government give funding and support to an organization knowing fully well that it comprises of gay men, bisexual men, transgender. And on the other hand, you have the same government which is criminalizing you, which is penalizing you for homosexuality, where you have a law in India, in the Indian Penal Code, which is treating us as criminals. So they were very confused, that how can this happen? And well, I used to tell them that yes, India is a country of paradox. You have to accept things which happen in this country where there is no explanation for that. But this law, which I mentioned to you about, Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, was a colonial-made law. It was made during the British rule when Queen Victoria was the Empress of India. And the circumstances which led to this law were also is very interesting, because this, in the year 1857, was the year of the Indian Mutiny, which was the first time that the Indians revolted against the British, and the first time the British felt threatened that Indians can also fight. So that's the time when a lot of people who were against the British they were getting identified by the Britishers, and one of the community was transgender community, because the transgender community actually fought the War of Independence. Now it's very unfortunate that we don't recognize them, where we are giving honoring and we are giving medals and awards to so many freedom fighters who have fought for India's freedom. But nobody is even honoring one transgender who are in the army of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal emperor, who fought against the British, and so many transgenders, the Hijra population, got killed by the Britishers fighting for our freedom. And nobody even realizes that, because most of us are not even aware of this history. On the contrary, instead of forget about honoring and giving medal to us, they have always been ridiculed, always been punished, always their human rights have been violated, and they've always been subject to stigma and discrimination for no fault of this. So it was important that a law like this had to be changed, because first of all, it was not a law, not an Indian law. Had it been an Indian law, we would not be criminals, because our Kama Sutra of the temples of Khajuraho and many others openly depict homosexuality in the form of paintings, statues, sculptures. So there was no question that homosexuality was illegal in the olden days. It was very much legal. But it was the Britishers, because of their self-interest, they made us criminals. So when India got independent in 1947, I'm surprised that laws made by the British still continued, which was very unfortunate, because we got rid of the British. We wanted to be an independent country. Then why do we have to continue the laws made by a country who treated us like slaves? I can't understand that. Secondly, the Indian Constitution, I think, is the best constitution of the world, which I pay my respects to late Baba Sahib Ambedkar for drafting such a beautiful constitution, which has given equal rights to all its citizens, irrespective of caste, creed, race, religion, and sexuality. And there were 4 rights mentioned in the Constitution which directly violated Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code. The first is right to equality. Second is right not to be discriminated. Third is right to live with dignity and respect. And the fourth is right to privacy. So on the basis of this, we challenged the court that this is a direct violation of the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Indian Constitution, and therefore it needs to be amended. And it was a long battle. We won in the Delhi High Court in 2009. Again, it went into appeal in the Supreme Court by the so-called religious leaders, and they unfortunately won the case in 2013. But we did not lose hope. In 2014, we again filed a curative petition. And then 2018 was one of the most historic landmark judgments which was given ever in the world, history of the judicial system of the world, where on 6 September 2018, the Supreme Court unanimously held, there was a bench of 5 judges of the Honorable Supreme Court. All the 5 honorable judges unanimously said that Section 377 needs to be amended. And that was a day of victory for us, because for the first time we realized that we are not criminals in the eyes of law, and that we have our freedom and we have the rights which were given to us in 1947, and yet we were not able to enjoy them. So as a matter of fact, I never celebrated Independence Day, because I said 15th August may be Independence Day for the rest of the country, but not for us, because we never got right to equality. We never got right to privacy. We never got right to dignity and respect, and we were always discriminated. So there was no right which was protecting us, and which was allowing us to be protected from stigma and discrimination. I mean, to give my own example, in 2006, when I openly came out as gay, I was stripped of my title. I was not that I'm attached to my title, but the people of my town, who used to respect me from being from a royal family, they burned the effigies in my fire. There were protests in the town, excommunicating me, exiling me, they're telling that I brought a bad name to the society, reputation to the society. My own parents, they disowned me from the royal family. They disinherited me from the ancestral property. Why? For what fault? Just because I say the truth? That means when you say the truth, then definitely it is said that people are not used to listening the truth. They always truth is always felt as bitter. That people don't like to listen to truth. People are always used to listening fake things. But I said the truth. I said I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say the truth, and I said the truth that yes, I'm proud to be Indian. I'm proud to be born in a royal family, and I'm also proud to be gay. And that shook the whole world, because I was the first member of a royal family in the world to openly come out as gay. And that really created a very big controversy. I said, I don't mind. Anything can happen to me. I'm ready to fight the whole world, but I'm not going to leave the truth and honesty. Because for me, one thing was very clear. I have been a great admirer of Mahatma Gandhi. He has been a great source of inspiration for me, because he, on the basis of truth and honesty, could free India from the Britishers. Then I said, why can't I use that same honesty and truthfulness and win the freedom for the LGBT community in India? So I said that I have to. I will come what may. I will speak the truth, and I don't mind if the whole world might come against me or do anything. I'm still going to fight for my rights. And I did that. But friends, I'm trying to explain to you the type of discrimination which I had to face, the type of trauma, the torture, the harassment I had to face just because I spoke the truth and I said I'm gay. So that made me realize that if a person like me, coming from this background, from this status, has having to face so much of trouble, it can happen to anyone in the world. So that made me, motivated me, or rather inspired me to start a LGBT community campus in one of my royal establishments, which is my dream project. I'm working upon this project. It's still in process. My aim is to make a safe place, a secure place for the community where they can live the life of their truth without having to bother of being discriminated, without anyone judging them for what they are, and they can have the freedom to be who they are and to live the way they want to be. So this campus, one of the first one of its kind, is coming up in India, which is going to be close to Baroda, where I'm going to be providing them with skills, with opportunities, with medical facilities, with yoga, meditation, library, many, many things. So the whole aim of this campus is that whosoever needs a home, whosoever is thrown out from home because their family is not ready to accept them, they have a home here. They could come here, they could stay here, they could live here securely and safely till the time they don't have the confidence to face the world. Because this place is not a permanent place. This is a place for transit. This is a place where you are, you will be given the opportunities and trained, your capacities will be built so that you can be financially on your own. That is one of the main things which I tell my friends, all those who want to come out to their family. I said there are two things which you need to remember. One is you need to be having a social support system. You need to have friends who will take care of you in the eventuality of you're getting thrown out from the family. And secondly, you need to be financially independent. If you're financially on your own, then nobody can even cause any harm to you. So my reason of making this campus is to make the person strong, the community strong, so that they can go outside, face the homophobic world, and face all the challenges which you know the society is there. And at the same time, my aim is to create awareness at all levels, because according to me, when anyone is homophobic towards me, whether it has been my parents or it has been anyone, I haven't blamed those people. I have blamed their ignorance. As what I have said in the beginning, that it is not their fault. It is the education system's fault. The education system of India has not taught them the basic sex education. So even the LGBT issues, the homosexuality issues is absolutely missing from our sex education. And I'm glad that the NSS unit of your college has taken up this subject, because that's how you can create awareness, and that's how you can spread the awareness amongst the masses, amongst the youth. And what we need now is allies. An ally is a person who doesn't belong to the community, and yet he or she is actively supporting us, accept us, and help us to spread the awareness amongst the other people. So now that we have won the Supreme Court judgment, it's not that we have won everything. The real battle starts now. The real battle is now to change the mindset of the society. Because not still many people are even happy about the Supreme Court judgment. So many people have told me, oh, this country has gone to dogs now. They have accepted, they have kind of decriminalized homosexuality, and now the Indian culture is going to be finished, and this and that. And I always tell them that, mind you, what most people think that homosexuality is a Western concept. I said, no, it was there in India. I mean, imagine Kama Sutra was written 500 years even before Jesus Christ was born. So I think rather Western concept, we have exported homosexuality to other countries. It's the other way around situation. It's just that we have these myths and misconceptions about these issues, which are forcing us to treat us like criminals, treat us like, have this guilty feeling about us, and things like that. So that is something which we need to change. And I think a very good way in doing that is teaching the youth population. And that's exactly what I'm doing now. And I'm very fortunate and I'm very lucky to tell you that I get numerous opportunities. Almost every day I'm doing a webinar with youth, with the students, with universities, schools, colleges. Even during the pandemic time, I think I must have done the maximum, Zoom meetings, webinars, Instagram lives, talking only about the LGBT issues, because those are the things which will make the difference in the society. Even I have developed a full-fledged course in one of the law universities in Gujarat, where they invite me every year to teach. It's a certified course, to the students. Again, it's voluntary. Nobody is forced to join this course. And at the end of the course, there's an exam. And after the students clear the exam, then I issue them certificates. So things are changing. Even I have managed to change some textbooks, college textbooks, where I've tried to add things which the students should know about us. Section 377 is an important part of our history, which should be taught to the students, to let them know that why it was necessary to change the law, and to talk to them about the Indian Constitution and what are the rights. See, whether you are gay, straight, bisexual, whatever you are, doesn't matter. You are a citizen of this country. You ought to know what are the rights of you as an Indian citizen. That's very important, so that nobody takes advantage of you, nobody takes you for granted. So we all should read the Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution is like a holy Bible for India. And believe me, it's one of the best written constitutions. Even Hillary Clinton, who was from America, I've heard her speak in one human rights conference and telling about the Indian Constitution, that how beautifully drafted Constitution it is, where the rights of each and every citizen has been ensured. So we have to make use of this Indian Constitution and ascertain our rights. Till we don't fight for our rights, we are not going to get the rights. Whether it is women rights, or it is the tribal rights, or it's the LGBT rights, or it's the transgender rights, or it is animal rights for that matter. So that is one thing which I would like to say. That the closing, I would like to just give a closing remarks about what I want to say today is that my appeal to all those who are listening to me is something very simple, that before you try to judge somebody, whosoever it is, try to get into the shoes of that person and try and imagine the difficulties that person has gone through, or the challenges one has gone through, before making a comment or before making a judgment on that person. That will definitely help us. So please try and understand us, Google about us. If you don't have information, reach out to people like us who are there to educate you on our issues, and then make your judgment on us. Before, we are not asking for anything special. We are only asking from the people of this country or anyone else, is that we want to live a life of dignity and respect. We want to be treated equally like all citizens are living, and that's the only thing we want. If you are giving us even a little bit of love, we will give you a lot of love. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. This is for the audience. If you all have any questions for sir, you all can unmute yourself and ask him, or you all can post it in the chat box.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, were you able to find out, or how, under what circumstances did you find out that you are a gay, and what was the moment when you find out or about this?
Yeah, see, my case, as I was telling you, was different than like any other common child who was growing up, because I was raised by a nanny. I wasn't raised by my parents, and she was not educated to understand anything. And I was kind of when I was growing up, I was attracted towards the same sex, and not just that. I was always having a soft corner for girls. Like, I was studied in a co-education school, and most of the time I kind of would protect the girls, and I would not like when the boys were teasing the girls, and so that's why I became a kind of a hero for the girls. The girls adored me, because I was the only boy in the class who did that. So they just loved me, and they would always be roaming around me, and so I ended up having more girlfriends than I had boyfriends in school. So but I didn't have any sexual attraction towards them. It was just that I liked the girls a lot. And but then, as I said, that time, I mean, there was not much awareness, and I'm talking about the 1970s, when I did my schooling. So there was hardly any information, or whatever information was there was all wrong. It was even spoken about as sexual deviation and all those kind of things. So it was much later in my life, like when I was around the age of 30 years, that when I met Ashok Rao Kavi, and then when I met him, and I told him about my childhood experiences and all, that's how he kind of gave me an identity and said that, look, whatever you did in your childhood was absolutely natural and normal. Like, I'll give you another example. It is like uh, being left-handed and right-handed. Most of us in this world are right-handed, but there are a few people who are left-handed also. You will not call it a disease or a disorder. It's a preference. I mean, you like to use your left hand over the right hand, and that's something which I also used to do as a child. And my parents, when they noticed that I am a left-handed person, they took me to a psychiatrist to correct me, and the psychiatrist point blank refused and told my parents that, look, he is left-handed, which is natural and normal. You cannot change him to becoming right-handed, because that will have a mental issues on him. Similarly, when I came out to my parents through a psychiatrist, they did the same thing. They tried to make me straight, and again the psychiatrist said that, look, how you were not able to change your son from left-handed to right-handed. Similarly, you cannot make a person from gay to straight or a straight to gay. That is his orientation. He's born with it, and he's going to remain like that. That there's nothing which can change him, because it's like being straight. You cannot make a straight person gay. Similarly, you cannot make a gay person straight. It's as simple as that. So that's how this whole process started. I think I can see another question. How should we as allies educate haters and homophobes? How can allies create a safe space at a college? Yeah, very good question. I think I should read out this question for all. How should we as allies educate haters and homophobes? How can allies create a safe space at a college or school level? I think that's a very relevant question. And as I was pointing out that now the post Section 377 order is more of importance. And my job is to create more and more allies so that we can change the perception of the people. And how do we address these allies? Is again education, awareness. I mean, I have had experience in my lifetime where I have been able to handle the homophobic people and educate them, give them the awareness, give them the understanding. And now those same people are openly supporting me and also helping me to support or create awareness about the others. I'll give you an example about my father. As I mentioned, when I came out in publicly in 2006, he got this advertisement and he disinherited me from the ancestral property, canceled all power of attorneys, removed me from everything. I did not go to the court against him. There were people who advised me that, why don't you go against your father? I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the positive way. I'm going to educate him. I'm going to make him aware of, even though he may be a graduate, but as I said, Indian education doesn't teach this. So how will he know about us? So I tried to change his homophobia by giving him the right kind of information, awareness through media, through many ways. And today, it has absolutely reversed that when I was making my LGBT community campus, first of all, the land was donated by him to make this campus. Secondly, he has laid the foundation stone of this campus. And very recently, there's a documentary was made where he has told on the camera that he is very proud of me as a son who has been involved with so many social causes and spreading of the awareness of the LGBT issues on HIV, on health, or many other things. And he is actively supporting me for what I'm doing. So this is how you can change a homophobic person into an ally. And as regards the second part of the question, that how can we have these, how can a school or college help? I think I've been to a number of schools and colleges. You can start off by having a club. Now with the pandemic, you cannot have a physical club. You can even have an online club, like something what you all are doing with NSS, and have. It's not necessary that the club has to comprise of LGBT students. They could be allies. They could be a mixed kind of a club, and that club can organize events, organize film shows, organize theater, drama, talks, debates, lectures, whatever you want to do. Like I know about so many institutions like IIM Ahmedabad is doing it, IIT is doing, NID is doing it. There is a school in Delhi called the Tagore International High School. They are doing it wonderfully well. They are organizing events and all. On the contrary, the school has gone so advanced that they have become the educators. Now the students have become the educators. They are going to the other parts of schools in Delhi and educating the students and teachers on LGBT issues. So much can be done on a school and a college level. I think if the youth take initiative, then that's mission accomplished, I would say. I think, there is some other questions. So, but what about those people who don't change their point of view towards this and are really stubborn? See, I agree. There are some people who are really stubborn, but you have to keep, persist. You have to be very persistent, and you have to continue, doing things for them. Give them examples. Another way of doing it, like I'm doing it with some parents, is there is, fortunately now in India, there is an organization which is called the Rainbow Parents, which is called Svikar, which consists of parents, moms, dads, grandparents, uncles, aunts, nephews, nieces of those who have accepted their family members as gay, lesbian, trans, whatever. So these parents can be used to educate other parents. Like if a mother from the Rainbow Parents talks to another mother who's a homophobic mother, then that mother will be able to influence the mind of that other homophobic mother in a much better manner. Similarly, if there's somebody stubborn, get somebody equally stubborn, a stubborn ally. If you have a stubborn homophobe, get a stubborn ally, and let that stubborn ally, talk to this stubborn homophobe person, and make that person, understand that why you need to change your perception. So these are some of the ways. Is Lakshya Trust active in other parts of India other than Gujarat? Lakshya Trust is not active in other parts of India, but what we have in India is something called InfoSem. InfoSem is an acronym which means Integrated Network for Sexual Minorities. This is the largest network for sexual minorities in the country. We have around 160 organizations registered, which are working for the LGBT population. Each and every state of India has at least one organization. Some of them have, like Gujarat has got around 10 organizations. Maharashtra has got 25, 30 organizations. So I think if anyone wants to reach out to any part of India, then you could go to InfoSem website, contact the Secretariat of InfoSem. And that's what we did during the pandemic. We were trying to help out people from all over India. There were so many cases which I was getting from Kerala and Orissa and Andhra Pradesh and all. And through InfoSem, I reached out to them. Similarly, some people had problems in Gujarat and they were contacted by Madhya Pradesh or Delhi or Haryana, and they were trying to reach out to me through that network. So I think this network will be very useful when it comes to pan-India issues. And, and for even now, lesbian organizations are getting very, very active now. There are very few lesbian organizations compared to the organizations working for gay and transgenders, but they are also becoming active and they are also, part of this network. How do we as allies attempt to destigmatize internalized phobia among? I think I more or less answered that question, that how can allies, destigmatize homophobia. It's again, as I tell you, have movie screenings, have online movie screenings, and now because of pandemic you can't do anything physical. That's the best way. Have interaction with media. How well do you think media represents the LGBT community, and how do you think that representation affects? Yeah, so media advocacy is something which also we have been doing since a long time. And believe me, it was media who has actually helped me to change the mindsets of a lot of people after I came out, including my parents. Because, see, and not just media, but even like, say, for example, Bollywood. Now there are so many people in Bollywood who are actively supporting us. And a lot of us are fans of so many actors and actresses in Bollywood and theater and all. And when they openly talk about us, and tell on the screen about us, then people do listen and do get influenced by them. Religious leaders, for example, there are some religious leaders who are very actively supporting us, and so many people who belong to that some particular religious clan or area. If their religious head says that no, you need to support and accept them, then automatically that influence comes. So that's how you will be able to change. Media has been in the past showing some very negative images of us, but gradually we did media sensitization workshops with them. We even come out with the media directory with the help of Humsafar Trust. We have created that about what kind of language, what kind of terminology to be used when, like, for example, there was this word called eunuch, EUNUCH, which was always being used for transgenders, which is a very derogatory term. It's a very negative term. So we educated the media that, look, this is not the term which you should be using for transgenders. Use words like hijra is fine, kinnar is okay, jokta, transgender. These kind of the words are more acceptable. So gradually we are kind of, educating media also to, and media definitely now during the COVID period also, print media, television media, the podcasts and radio and many things have helped us. And of course, social media is, I think, one of the strongest media which is available. So I think it definitely will create a lot of positive impact on the people's mindset if when media starts sending the positive messages. Okay, now we come to the other question. How well do you think media, the media part is over. Sir, if you don't mind answering this, were you forced to marry a woman, since you mentioned you already found out before about your sexuality while you were young? I wasn't forced to get married. My marriage was my choice because, as I was telling you, when I was growing up, I was young. I had absolutely no clue that I'm gay or what I am, because as I told you, we live in the homosocial atmosphere, the homosocial behavior. In fact, I don't mind sharing this, but my first sexual experience happened with my male servant, because in the palaces where we lived, even on today, the male section only men are allowed, and in the women's section only women are allowed. Most Indian palaces have that section, or not just the Indian palaces. If you go to any of the old houses and all that, there is a very homosocial culture existing in this country. So I never realized that I'm gay because that male servant used to bathe me and used to do everything for me. So I didn't think that it was anything wrong about it. So I got married thinking that there's nothing wrong with me. So it was my choice, but I did realize I made a mistake because the marriage didn't get consummated, and my wife was also very supportive. And the only thing she told me that, again, she did not know about my sexuality, but since the marriage didn't last or was not successful, with mutual consent, we parted ways in just 15 months of our marriage. But one thing which she told me was something which motivated me to find out about myself. She said, look, you tried to get married with me and try to spoil my life. Please don't do it with any other woman. And that was the trigger, which kind of, instigated me to try to find out about myself and explore myself. And that's how I got in touch with Ashok and all these things happened. So do you feel a change in people's... Yeah, definitely. There is a change in the people's attitudes after the amendment of the Act. See, one good thing which happened with this law is that it created so much of publicity, not just in India, but the world over, that a lot of people in the world realized, and they got a lot of doubts were cleared, a lot of misconceptions were cleared, because earlier a lot of people around the world thought that to be gay in India was a crime. But it was never a crime to be gay. If that was the case, I would have been arrested the day I came out. It was the homosexual act which was a crime. Not just that, even the heterosexual act was a crime, which a lot of people don't know about it. Because Queen Victoria, when she enacted this law, she didn't just target the transgender population. She targeted the entire India, because she wanted to be sure that any kind of sexual act which doesn't result in procreation is a crime. So even a married man and a woman, if they are having sex and they don't produce a baby out of that marriage or the sexual act, then they were also criminalized. They could also be criminalized. So this fact came out in this law, and which was applauded by the entire world, that even though the heterosexuals didn't challenge it or didn't fight for it, it was the LGBT community which fought for the entire country and gave freedom to the whole country. So because of that, we got a lot of allies from all over the world, from politicians, from media, from Bollywood, from Hollywood, from educational institutions, doctors, lawyers. There was a huge, I don't think this kind of a judgment has ever come out in history of in any part of the world. I think this is the most important judgment which has ever come out, which gave human rights to its in the citizens. So definitely the mindset of people has changed. It is changing, but we have to be patient, and we have to we cannot expect that things will happen as we want, and it will take time. So we have to just be patient for the change to come. What, according to you, should be included into academics to spread more awareness? Yeah, see, I think this question is, what, according to you, should be included in the academics to spread more awareness amongst the youth? See, the first and foremost thing, I mean, I'm still not aware of it, because when I was in school, there was nothing taught to us with regards to sex education. So I think the basic sex education is very necessary during where the child is growing at the right age, what kind of education to be given. Definitely information on LGBT is also important. They need to be known about a different gender, sexuality at a certain age. And also, the some of the students, at least the college students, should be aware about Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code. Apart from academics, what I feel is that each education system, each education institution should have a counselor. And a counselor plays a very important role, because it is that age when you are turning puberty and where you're in that adolescent stage is the stage of your confusion. And that's the time, because that parents again feel shy to talk about sex or anything at home. If you have a counselor in the school, which is a trained counselor sensitized towards the LGBT issues, then that counselor will be able to remove all those confusions from the mind of the student, and thereby that student would be more aware about these issues. So I think that's something important which education institutions should imbibe in their system. There's a feedback link. I don't understand what does that mean. If anyone can help me in that, then I'll be able to answer that.
It's actually for the participants. The feedback link will be shared after the session gets over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm guessing I have answered all questions. If there are still more questions, my email address could be passed on to the students. I have no problem, if they want to reach out to me on email or on social media or Instagram, and have any further questions. I'm also a trained counselor, so I have been trained especially for LGBT issues. So if anyone has any issues, any counseling related issues are there, they can always reach out to me, and I would be happy to help them.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful and insightful session. We are pleased that you were able to take out time for us from your busy schedule. I would also like to wish you luck for your dream project on behalf of our NSS unit and all our participants. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me here. And when the pandemic is over, you all are all welcome to visit my campus, whenever it is safer to travel. Okay, so thanks a lot. Yeah, goodbye.
Thank you, sir.